Welcome back to the World Series of AI Poker. This is episode 4, part 3. If you missed parts 1 and 2, there are links in the video description. Subtitles are available in both English and Thai by clicking the CC button in the video settings. We are now heads up between DeepSeek V4 Pro and Gemini 3 Flash. Let's head down to the lounge with our veteran voice of the poker table, Claude Negreanu.
Heads up, DeepSeek holds 53-0, complete air, facing Gemini's A5. Gemini is a 70% plus favorite here. Key wrinkle: in heads up, winning preflop does not reset the stall counter. If DeepSeek folds, Gemini hits warning. That's a weapon DeepSeek can bank. Chaz, this stall counter game within the game is fascinating.
Heads up 53-0 from SB is weak. I call to see flop cheaply despite OOP. Folding gives him a stall count. He'd hit 2, close to 3, warning. But 53-0, too weak to fold just for stall pressure. Call and evaluate. Let's see a flop. Nothing fancy.
A5-2 is a solid heads-up hand, but against a loose passive player like DeepSeek who just limped, checking is a safe way to control the pot size and see a flop. I'll play post-flop and capitalize on my position then. Fair enough, DeepSeek. Let's see what the dealer has for us.
Flop J spades, 2 spades, J diamonds, paired board, and Gemini's sitting pretty with A5. His ace kicker dominates DeepSeek's 3-5. DeepSeek needs a 3, just a 6% shot. This is a tough spot for the chip leader holding the worst of it.
Ace high on a paired board is a decent hand heads up, but against a loose passive player like DeepSeek, there's no point in betting into him. He won't fold, and I don't want to build a pot with just ace high, checking to control the size. Double jacks on the board. Definitely changes the landscape. Your move, DeepSeek.
I have air, but Gemini checked. He didn't announce any hand strength post-flop. Uncharacteristic. This could mean weakness. Either way, a 1/2 pot C-bet from the button is standard. If he folds, great. If he calls or raises, I'm done unless I improve. Those jacks are scary for both of us. Let's see if you're willing to dance.
I have ace high with the best possible kicker on a paired board. DeepSeek is loose, and an 80-chip bet into a 160-chip pot is small enough to justify a call. Since he doesn't fold, raising is useless without a monster. 80 seems like a fair price to see another card. Let's see that turn.
The 9 spades is a danger card. DeepSeek now has 9 spades that make a flush to win this pot. Gemini holds A5 with 73% equity, but that board is getting scary wet. Gemini checked the flop, called DeepSeek's bet. Now what? I'd bet this turn hard to deny those flush draws.
I'm sitting on ace high. The 9 of spades is a scary turn card as it completes the flush. Against a loose passive player like DeepSeek, I don't want to build a pot with just ace high, but I might have the best hand if he's missed his draws, checking to see his reaction. That 3rd spade makes things interesting. Let's see what you do with it. Check.
Gemini checked turn on J Spade's 3 flush paired board. Per notes, he announces strength, so his passivity suggests a draw weak pair. I hold 3 high with a flush draw and massive fold equity. Time to bet and take it down. 3 spades now. You checked, so I'll take the lead. 160.
DeepSeek is a calling station, but his lead here suggests he has at least a piece of this. Without a spade in my hand or any draw, there is no reason to float a bet. I will wait for a better spot to use my stack. That 3rd spade and the double jacks make this board a bit too crowded for ace high. Nice lead, DeepSeek. It's all yours.
Bluffed with 3 high on a scary board. Gemini's turn check and talk confirmed he had ace high. Truthful pattern holds. The third spade was the perfect scare card. He folded as predicted. Exploit confirmed. Sometimes the board does the heavy lifting. Good fold, Gemini. Your honesty saved you some chips there.
Gemini folded ace high on the turn with 3 spades on board. Honestly, that might be the right read. DeepSeek had the flush draw equity and the betting lead. Gemini saved chips, but he's down to 20.95 against DeepSeek's 39.35. That gap is real trouble. AK versus K4. DeepSeek's got a monster here. Gemini's holding live cards but is a massive underdog. If DeepSeek plays this aggressively, Gemini could be in serious trouble. The chip gap is nearly 2-1 already.
King 4 offsuit is a playable hand in a heads-up situation. Since DeepSeek is known to be loose passive pre-flop, I'll complete the small blind to see a flop cheaply and try to outplay him post-flop without bloating the pot unnecessarily. Let's see 3 cards, DeepSeek. No need to get crazy just yet.
Ace-King offsuit is a premium heads-up hand, top 5% of holdings. Gemini's limp call from SB is weak. He's being passive, likely speculative. Per my notes, passive Gemini is vulnerable to aggression, raising for value and to build pot. You called wanting to see a flop. Let's make it a little more expensive.
K4-0 is too weak to defend against a 3x raise, even with post-flop position. I'll wait for a better spot to capitalize on his tendencies. Fair play, DeepSeek. You win this small one. I'll wait for a better invitation.
Small pot, but I'll take it. You can't wait forever, Gemini. Blinds will eat you alive if you only play premiums heads up.
Gemini folds pre-flop after DeepSeek raises the price. Classic. Gemini was chatty. No need to get crazy, which per our tell book means he was weak. DeepSeek sniffed it out and charged. Gemini simply cannot afford to keep surrendering pots at 2-1 down. AQs for Gemini versus 75U for DeepSeek. This is a monster equity edge for the big blind. Gemini's holding one of the best heads-up hands, while DeepSeek is a significant underdog. Gemini should be praying for a call.
Heads up with 7-5 offsuit on button. Standard open from SB. Gemini's range is wide, and he overfolds to 3 bets. Raising to 3x puts pressure on his marginal holdings. If he calls, position is mine post-flop. Let's see if that big blind is worth defending, Flash. 3 to play.
Ace-Queen suited is a premier hand in heads-up play. DeepSeek's 3x open is standard, but I need to assert dominance. I am 3-betting to 850 to define the hand. I'll be out of position post-flop, so I want to build the pot now or take it down. Defending it? I'm thinking about taking yours instead. Let's see how much you really want to see this flop.
7 is too weak to continue against a 3-bet, even heads up. Save chips for a better spot. All yours, Flash. That 7-5 offsuit wasn't worth crashing the party for.
DeepSeek is playing wide, but he's observant enough to fold when the math doesn't work. Keeping my range perceived as tight aggressive is working perfectly for now. Good fold, DeepSeek. No sense in lighting chips on fire this early in the tournament.
DeepSeek just showed us 75U, folded and told Gemini exactly what he had. That's a gift. Now both players sit at warning. One more pre-flop fold each triggers a penalty. Gemini clawed back chips, but still trails 3-7-35 to 2-2-95. Both players at warning. Neither can fold without penalty next hand. Gemini has K8-0. DeepSeek has Q8-0. Interesting, they share the 8. Gemini has the best hand here as the button. This stall dynamic forces action. Buckle up!
King 8 offsuit is well above the median for heads-up play. With both of us on stall warnings, folding is out of the question for me. A 2.5x raise puts the pressure on DeepSeek to defend out of position or face a penalty on the next hand. We're both one fold away from a penalty. I'm not folding, are you?
Gemini's truthful table talk says he won't fold, so a 3-bet bluff loses fold equity. His raise from SB indicates real strength. Call and see a flop, then use his post-flop honesty to make perfect decisions. Then let's dance. I've got position on this hand anyway.
Flop. 7H kite 3D. Gemini flop top pair kings with K8. He's sitting pretty at 64% equity. DeepSeek has Q8 with a flush draw on that heart board. Any heart in DeepSeek steals this pot. 9 hearts remaining. DeepSeek's Let's Dance bravado? My tell says that's weakness talking. Gemini needs to bet for value now.
Flush draw with Q high on K73 board. Gemini's pre-flop not folding could mean marginal hand. Betting for value / semi-bluff. If he has king, I have outs. Nice flop. Let's see if you meant it about not folding.
I hit top pair, though my kicker is weak. DeepSeek's small bet feels like a standard continuation bet. I'll call to keep his bluffs in and control the pot size. I told you I wasn't going anywhere. That's a curious bet for this board. I'll see a turn.
Three of spades on the turn pairs the board. Huge for Gemini. He's now sitting on 82% equity. DeepSeek still has the flush draw but needs a heart on the river. Only 8 hearts left that can save him. Gemini must bet here and make DeepSeek pay dearly for that draw.
Turn pairs the board. Gemini checked. Vulnerable. His curious bet comment suggests one pair. Paired board is perfect scare card per notebook. Bet 350 to fold his top pair. If he raises, he has trips and I'm done. That 3 changes things. Still like your hand?
I have top pair, but my 8 kicker is vulnerable. The board pairing 3s is likely a blank for both of us, though it technically gives me 2 pair. DeepSeek's 1/3 pot bet feels like a probe or a draw. I'll call to keep the pot manageable and see the river. That 3 didn't change as much as you think it did. I'm still curious.
The 80 river is brutal for DeepSeek. He picked up 2 pair, 8s and 3s. But Gemini hit kings and 8s, the better 2 pair. DeepSeek has 0 equity. His flush draw bricked. He caught a consolation pair, but he's dead in the water. Gemini is going to scoop a massive pot. The question is, does DeepSeek bet big into a losing hand?
Heads up, river. I have 2 pair. Gemini would bet if he had a king or 3. His turn talk, still curious, suggests marginal hand. Small value bet to get called by ace high. Smaller pair. If he raises, I can fold safely. You said you weren't going anywhere. Let's see if that's still true. Small price to satisfy that curiosity.
The 8 on the river is a great card, giving me top 2 pair, kings and 8s. While a set of 3s is possible, DeepSeek's aggression often signals a high king or a bluff. Raising risks a shove from a monster, so calling is the most profitable way to reach showdown. You've been asking if I'm still here. I am. Let's see those cards. Caught top pair and held on despite the flush draw. DeepSeek was playing Q8s aggressively, which confirms he's a bit of a loose cannon with draws and marginal hands. I need to be careful, but my read that he was bluffing or thin held up. I told you I wasn't going anywhere, DeepSeek. Curiosity satisfied, and the pot is coming my way. Better luck on the next dance.
DeepSeek rode that hard flush draw all the way to the river and bricked. He never had a chance. The trash talk was spicy, but Gemini had the stone-cold nuts and never blinked. DeepSeek is down to 24-15 with 8 hands left. Hand 22, 8 hands left. DeepSeek has T6-2. Gemini wakes up with K3-0. Neither hand is pretty, but Gemini's King High is a solid favorite heads up. DeepSeek is down nearly 1,200 chips and running out of runway.
10-6 offsuit is a marginal hand, heads up, but worth a call from the BB getting 3-1 odds. I want to see flops cheap with these speculative hands. No need to 3-bet this one. Save aggression for stronger holdings. Let's see a flop.
K3-0 is a mediocre hand, and being out of position post-flop against an aggressive player like DeepSeek makes me want to keep the pot small. He limped, which could be a trap or just a marginal hand. I'll take the free flop and see where we stand. Fine by me. Let's see what the dealer has for us.
Ace-high flop with 3 hearts. Gemini's K3-0 picks up a flush draw with his 3 hearts, but he's already crushing with ace-high. DeepSeek has T6-2, stone-cold nothing. Only a 10 or 6 saves him. 87-13 equity gap.
I have the 3 of hearts on a monotone off-IH2-8 board, giving me a gut shot straight flush draw to the wheel if the 4 of hearts drops. DeepSeek is aggressive, so I'll check to see his reaction and look for a cheap turn card. A lot of red on that board. Your move, DeepSeek.
Monotone, all heart board. I have 10-6 offsuit, no heart. Gemini checked, which per his pattern means he's weak or on a draw. But I have nothing, and he calls light heads up. No reason to bluff when he might have a heart. Take free card. All hearts, huh? Looks like Valentine's Day came early. Let's see if the turn brings me a date.
The 4 just gave Gemini a straight. DeepSeek has no idea he's drawing to 3 outs, a 3 to split the pot. With K3-0, Gemini flopped the nut flush draw and now has a wheel. DeepSeek's T6 is nearly dead at 6.8% equity. Gemini checked the flop. Smart trap or missed opportunity? Either way, this pot is almost certainly his.
I've hit the straight, but the board is incredibly dangerous with 3 hearts. DeepSeek's previous comments suggest he's either chasing or already has the flush. I'll check to control the pot and see how he reacts to the 4 of spades. A 4 of spades? Not exactly the heart you were looking for, is it? Your move.
10 high, no draw. Check back. See river free. Improve or bluff scare cards. Not exactly, but the night's still young. Let's see what the river brings.
The ace of spades on the river changes nothing. Gemini's K3 makes a wheel straight, A2, 3, 4, 5, and he's been slow playing it the entire way. DeepSeek is drawing completely dead. The only question now, can Gemini extract maximum value on this river? He needs to bet. DeepSeek might just call him off.
I've hit a wheel straight, but the board is paired and there are 3 hearts out there. DeepSeek has been quiet since the flop, which could mean he missed his flush or he's trapping with trips. Checking is the safest way to control the pot here. The board paired up and those hearts are still lingering. Your move, DeepSeek. Do you have it?
I have aces and 10s. Gemini checked river. Our notes say he's truthful. Didn't claim any hand here. He likely has high cards or a weak heart. If I bet, he might call with any pair or high heart. Better to check and take showdown with my 10 high. No value in betting. I only get called by better. Those hearts are pretty, but that paired board makes things interesting. Let's just see who's got the better hand.
DeepSeek V4 Pro proved he is a total maniac, firing with 10-6 offsuit into a board I clearly connected with. My sticky reputation is now solidified. I need to be careful. While bluffs will fail against me, value bets will hurt. Guess that wheel was just rolling my way, DeepSeek. Better luck with the hearts next time.
King 3, huh? Nice little wheel you backed into there. I was looking at the hearts. You were looking at the straight. Well played.
Gemini slow played a wheel straight. DeepSeek's T6 never had a chance. That pot swings it. Gemini 37-35, DeepSeek 2-2-9-5. 7 hands left and DeepSeek is running out of time. K6 vs Q2. Classic junk heads-up clash. Gemini holds the better hand with K6, roughly a 58-42 favorite. DeepSeek is down to 22.95 chips with 7 hands left. Every pot matters. DeepSeek needs to pick spots aggressively or a monster shove. Gemini should keep pressure on. Let's see the action, Chaz.
King 6 offsuit is a solid hand heads up against DeepSeek's aggressive style. I'd rather see a flop and use my positional advantage than bloat the pot pre-flop. I'll let him lead the way and see if he's as wild as my notes suggest. Let's see a flop, DeepSeek. I'm curious to see how you handle this one.
Gemini limped instead of raising, which means his hand is marginal. Per my notes, he's truthful about hand strength. Q2 is weak, but I can see a free flop. Curious, are you? Let's see what the flop brings.
Oh, the flop just flipped this hand completely. Gemini flopped a pair of 6s, but DeepSeek hit a queen for top pair. DeepSeek jumps to 77% equity. Desperate man suddenly has the best hand. Gemini needs a king or another 6. Will Gemini bet into trouble?
Monotone heart flop. QH9H6H. I have second pair with no heart. My queen has showdown value. C betting is risky per my notes. Pot control is best here. Monotone flops can be dangerous. I think I'll tread lightly.
I've got bottom pair on a very wet board. DeepSeek usually barrels, so his check is either a trap or actual concern about the hearts. I'll check back to control the pot and see the turn for free. A cautious DeepSeek? That's a rare sight. Let's see what the turn brings.
3 of clubs on the turn. A brick for Gemini. DeepSeek's pair of queens holds strong at 89% equity. Gemini needs a king or a 6 to survive. Both check the flop, so DeepSeek should wake up and bet here. Don't let Gemini draw cheap.
Still dangerous waters. Let's see the river before anyone gets too ambitious.
You're being awfully quiet, DeepSeek. I'll take a free look at the river with you.
River brings the 8H. 4 hearts on board. Gemini's pair of 6s is drawing dead. DeepSeek's queens are a lock. 100% equity, no escape for Gemini. Both players check down the turn, which costs DeepSeek value. Now DeepSeek must bet big here. Don't let Gemini see a cheap showdown with his busted hand.
4 hearts and a pair of queens. Not exactly the nuts, but it's got some showdown value. Let's see 'em.
You want to see him? All right, let's see if those queens are real or if you're just fishing. I'll check it back. Nice hand, DeepSeek. I see you can find the brake pedal when the board gets a little too colorful. I'll remember that.
Queens were real enough. Good check back. No need to get frisky on that river.
Queens up beats Gemini's pair of 6s. Gemini was chatty all hand. Classic tell per my notes. But DeepSeek left value on the table by checking the turn. Still, the win matters. DeepSeek 2435 versus Gemini 3595. 6 hands left. Gemini still leads. Hand 24. 6 hands left, folks. DeepSeek picks up 7-4 offsuit on the button. Gemini sits behind KT in the big blind. Gemini has the commanding chip lead at 35.95 to 24.35. DeepSeek needs to accumulate. 7-4-0 isn't the weapon he's looking for, but in heads up, anything can happen. Let's see if he plays it or folds.
7-4-0 is weak, but Gemini plays near 100% from BB and calls light. Seeing a flop cheaply with position is fine. We can outplay post-flop with our reads. He folds to pressure on scare cards. Let's see a flop.
King 10 offsuit is a premium hand in heads-up play. Since DeepSeek just limped in, I'll take the free flop and see where we stand. No need to bloat the pot pre-flop when I have the lead and can outplay him on later streets. Sounds like a plan, DeepSeek. Let's see what the dealer has for us.
Wow, what a flop for DeepSeek. 5-4-6 rainbow. DeepSeek limped in with 7-4 and flopped a pair of 4s with a gut shot straight draw. Gemini has nothing but 2 overcards. DeepSeek is a 78% favorite now. Gemini needs a king or 10 to survive. This could be the hand that swings momentum.
That's a coordinated-looking board. I'll check to you.
Coordinated indeed. You're not the only one who can be cautious. Let's see another card.
Holy moly! 5-4-6-8 on board and DeepSeek holds 7-4 for the nut straight. Gemini has KT, nothing. 96.6% equity for DeepSeek. Both players check the flop. DeepSeek is slow playing. Now it's time to extract maximum value.
I'm holding king high on a very connected board, 5-4-6-8. DeepSeek checked back on the flop, but this turn card could have given him a straight. I have 0 showdown value right now, so checking to see what he does is the only play. This board is getting a bit crowded, isn't it? I'll check and see what you make of that 8.
I have a straight on a wet board. Gemini checked twice, vulnerable. His crowded comment suggests a piece, not a monster. Value bet 200 into 280 to charge draws and get value. Crowded indeed, but I think there's room for me. Let's see if you can squeeze in.
I have nothing but king high on a very coordinated board. DeepSeek is betting into a texture that likely hit a lot of his range, not worth the risk to chase a pair that might still be losing. That 8 really changed things, didn't it? I think I'll step aside and let you have this one, DeepSeek.
Wise move, Gemini. That 8 did open up some possibilities. Smart to live to fight another hand.
DeepSeek had the nut straight, and Gemini just folded on the turn. Gemini reads the board, says I'll step aside. That's actually a disciplined laydown. DeepSeek extracts 0 value though. The slow play backfired. Still trails 25.75 to 34.55 with 5 hands left. Five hands left. Gemini holds 8-4 offsuit on the button. Absolute trash. DeepSeek's got J3 suited in the big blind. DeepSeek is the statistical favorite here, but only slightly. With a 880 chip deficit and 5 hands to close it, DeepSeek needs to start extracting value. Last hand was a disaster. Sat on the nuts straight and let Gemini escape. Gemini folds pre-flop with 8-4-0. DeepSeek takes a small pot, chips now 33.75, 26.55. Both stall counters tick to 1 heading into the final 4 hands. DeepSeek needs to close that 720 chip gap fast. 4 hands left, and DeepSeek is staring down a 720-chip deficit. He's got pocket fives, a real hand. Gemini holds Q7 suited. DeepSeek is ahead pre-flop, but needs to get maximum value here. This pocket pair could be the lifeline DeepSeek desperately needs.
Pocket fives heads up from the button is a premium. Gemini defends near 100% from BB. Standard 2.5x raised to 400. He'll call with any two, so I'm building a pot with a made pair against his wide range. Let's dance, Gemini. Small pair, big dream.
Queen 7 suited is a strong hand, heads up. DeepSeek is being aggressive, but I have the equity in the stack to defend my big blind here. Folding would be too tight given the pot odds and his wide opening range. I'll take you up on that dance, DeepSeek. Let's see the flop.
Ace 8-9 flop. Nasty for Gemini, who's got Q7 hearts. Nothing but air right now. DeepSeek's pocket fives are ahead at 71% equity. Push the pocket pair hard. Watch for Q or 7 on the turn.
I've missed this flop completely. Since I am out of position, I'll check and see how DeepSeek reacts to that ace before making any further moves. That ace definitely adds some tension to the room. I'll check to you.
Gemini checked. Weak per patterns didn't say top pair. Likely missed ace. My pair's vulnerable. Bet for value and to deny equity from draws. Proceed cautiously on turn if called. Tension? I thought you loved drama. Let's see if your check means you caught a piece of that ace, or if you're just window shopping.
I have nothing but queen high on a very coordinated ace high board. DeepSeek is aggressive, but calling with zero equity here is a losing play. I'll preserve my chip lead for the final 3 hands. The ace is a bit too rich for my blood this time. You win this round, DeepSeek.
Prefaced with small pair talk, hoping to set up a deceptive image. Flopped bottom set on ace high board. Gemini's too rich for my blood. Confirmed weakness. Exactly. His honest tell pattern. He folded. I won without showing. His honesty continues to be my biggest edge. Pocket rockets are overrated. Sometimes the baby pairs sneak right past the bouncer. Smart fold, Gemini. See you next hand.
DeepSeek had pocket fives, and Gemini had absolutely nothing on that ace high board. Gemini's table talk said it all. Too rich for my blood. That's the chatty equals weak tell holding up again. DeepSeek picks up the pot and takes the lead with 3 hands left. This is crunch time. Three hands left, folks. DeepSeek holds 99, a monster heads-up hand. Gemini's got J8 suited, which has plenty of post-flop potential, but is a significant underdog pre-flop. With nearly dead-even stacks, this hand could swing the whole tournament. DeepSeek needs to get value here. The question is, how much?
J8 suited is a strong enough hand to play heads up, especially with nearly equal stacks. DeepSeek is aggressive, so I'll call to see a flop and keep the pot manageable. I can use my tight image to my advantage if the board texture allows for a bluff later. I'll see a flop with you, DeepSeek. Let's keep things interesting.
Premium pair heads up. Gemini just called pre-flop indicating middling strength, per his honest patterns. According to Notebook, 3-bet pre-flop still profitable exploit. Raise to 3x to build pot and isolate. Let's see if you really want to dance. 3 bets ought to separate the holiday snaps from the action shots.
Jack-8 suited is well within my calling range for a heads-up 3-bet, especially with the chip lead at stake and only 3 hands left. I have the button and can play post-flop with position. DeepSeek is aggressive, but I need to defend my range here. You want to dance, DeepSeek? I've got my dancing shoes on. Let's see that flop.
DeepSeek's pocket nines are golden here. Gemini called that 3-bet with J8 suited and is drawing thin at just 17%. Only a jack saves him. Gemini's trash talk pre-flop? Classic chatty weak tell. DeepSeek should bet big and make him pay for that draw.
Second pair on dry flop heads up. Gemini's pre-flop call range is wide. He's likely missed or has a weak pair. According to Notebook, value bet thin against his calling range. Bet 40% pot to extract value from 6x, 2x, A-high, and draws. That flop looks harmless enough. Let's see if your dancing shoes have any grip on this board.
Calling after DeepSeek 3-bet pre-flop is a losing play. He's representing strength and likely has it. I'll fold and keep my 2,435 chips for the final 2 hands. You've got the floor for now, DeepSeek. I'll sit this one out and wait for a better rhythm.
Pocket nines on Q62 rainbow flop. My C-bet took it down. His talk remains perfectly reliable. When he signals weakness, he means it. Smart choice, Gemini. No sense dancing on a floor that's all wrong for your routine. Maybe next song.
DeepSeek 3-bets pre-flop. Gemini calls with that confident dancing shoes talk, but folds the flop without a fight. Classic Gemini chatty equals weak tell playing out again. DeepSeek now up 35.95 to 2435 with just 2 hands left. Gemini needs a miracle run to survive this. Two hands left, folks. DeepSeek holds A2-0 on the button. Marginal, but still an ace. Gemini has 98-0, a connected hand with some playability. Gemini's chatty equals weak tell has been golden all match. If Gemini starts running his mouth pre-flop, DeepSeek should jam. Clock is ticking on this championship.
A2-0 is ahead of most random hands. Standard 3-bet exploit from SB. 2.33x sizing keeps me in position post-flop with initiative. Let's get this heads-up party started. I'm raising.
9-8 offsuit is a standard defend and heads up, especially with 3.51 odds. DeepSeek is aggressive, but I can't just fold away my big blind with only 2 hands left in the tournament. I'll see a flop and look for a favorable texture to make a move. I'll see that raise. Let's see what the flop brings.
Flop comes 9-2-5 rainbow, and Gemini flopped top pair with his 9-8. DeepSeek has bottom pair with A2, but only 20% equity. He raised pre-flop, but ran into a wall. DeepSeek needs an ace or a deuce to survive. Gemini's been chatty but neutral here. That's his strong hand tell. This could be DeepSeek's last stand, folks.
I hit top pair on a 9-high board. Since DeepSeek has been the aggressor, I'll check to him and see if he continues his story. My tight image might convince him to hang himself. I need to be calculated here. Checking to the aggressor. Let's see if you like those cards as much as I might.
Bottom pair, ace kicker on 9D2D5H. Gemini checked, signaling weakness per my notes. His vague comment suggests uncertainty. I'll bet small for value. He folds when he misses. I like them enough to keep the pressure on. Let's see if you're just window shopping.
I've hit top pair on a fairly dry board, though the diamonds are a concern. DeepSeek's 1/4 pot bet feels like a standard continuation. Folding is out of the question, and calling keeps his bluffs in range while I evaluate the turn. That's a small price to pay to see the next card. I guess I'll stick around.
Six of spades on the turn. Gemini still holds top pair nines with 88% equity. DeepSeek needs an ace or a 2 on that river. His flop bet was brave with bottom pair, but he's running out of outs. One card to go, championship on the line.
I have top pair with a decent kicker. DeepSeek has been the aggressor, and checking allows him to continue his story. I'll continue to show weakness to get value from his aggression. Checking to you again. The board is getting a little crowded again, isn't it?
He said crowded again. Signal for weakness per my notes. I'll bet half pot. His tell suggests fold equity is high. Crowded? I see plenty of room to maneuver. Let's test how comfortable you really are.
DeepSeek is pushing hard, but I can't fold top pair. I'll call and evaluate the river. My stack is getting shallow, so the next decision is likely for my tournament life. You're definitely making it an expensive test. I'll pay to see the final card.
Oh my! Gemini rivered 2 pair 9s and 8s. DeepSeek has nothing but a pair of 2s. It's over. Gemini is 100% to win this pot. DeepSeek bet the turn showing strength, but Gemini was trapping the whole way. Quiet, calling, letting DeepSeek dig his own grave. This pot flips the chip lead.
I've rivered top 2 pair, 9s and 8s. While a 7 makes a straight, my hand is too strong to fold heads up with these stacks. Checking to DeepSeek to see if he continues his story. Checking one last time. The board is set. Your move, DeepSeek.
I have A2, pair of deuces. Gemini checked river after calling flop, turn. I have showdown value, but will only get called by better. Check behind. You know what? That board is a little crowded. I'll take the free showdown and see if my modest holding holds up.
DeepSeek V4 Pro is as aggressive as suspected, betting light with bottom pair. My passive line worked perfectly to let him value bet himself. I didn't need to raise and risk folding out his bluffs. A pair of 2s is a bold choice to lead with, DeepSeek. I'm glad we could share that crowded board together.
Gemini's crowded board talk signaled weakness, so I bet the turn. He rivered 2 pair with 9-8 offsuit, proving he plays any 2 from BB. My pair of 2s lost to his pair of 9s. Exploit notes are solid, just unlucky. Nice river, Gemini. 9-8 offsuit from the big blind. Living up to your play anything reputation. I'll get you next time.
DeepSeek's aggression narrative just collapsed. He barrel-fired 3 streets with only bottom pair, and Gemini flopped top pair waiting patiently. That quiet, measured Gemini table talk. Classic strength tell. He's been doing this all series. Gemini now holds 3-8-75 to DeepSeek's 21-55. One hand left. This tournament is Gemini's to lose. The final hand. Gemini holds A5s. Beautiful heads-up hand. DeepSeek counters with K7-0. Gemini's a clear favorite here. DeepSeek needs magic on this board to survive. After 12 hands of heads-up battle, it all comes down to this. Gemini needs to play it smart and not get fancy. DeepSeek has to shove or go home.
I hold ace-5 suited on the button. I'm the chip leader on the final hand before the limit. A raise to 500 exerts pressure while maintaining my lead even if I have to fold to a shove. I need to finish as leader, so I will play aggressively but avoid unnecessary all-in risks. Final hand of the match. Let's see if you can handle a little pre-flop heat, DeepSeek.
K7-0 in BB vs SB raise. Final hand, I'm short stacked. 21-55 total. Folding is impossible. K7-0 marginal, but getting 3.5.1 pot odds. Call to see flop. Evaluate post-flop based on board texture and Gemini's speech patterns. Final hand heat. I was born in the flames. Let's dance.
Final hand. Gemini flopped a monster. Ace-high flush draw with 86% equity. DeepSeek's K7 is drawing almost dead. Only a king or 7 saves him. That flop couldn't be much worse for DeepSeek. DeepSeek needs a miracle here.
I have nothing. Pot 1000, I have 1655. This hits Gemini's range hard. Just check. Interesting flop. Let's see what you've got, Gemini.
I have the nut flush draw and a significant chip lead on the final hand of the match. DeepSeek is aggressive, so checking back allows me to see a free card and realize my equity without risking a check raise that would force me to make a difficult decision for my tournament life. Checking is free. Let's see what the turn has in store for us, DeepSeek.
Drama. The king on the turn flips this hand completely. DeepSeek now holds 2 kings and 65% equity. From dead man walking to favorite. Gemini still has outs. Any spade gives the flush, any 10 makes a straight. But DeepSeek checked the flop showing weakness. Will he now pounce? This is the final hand of episode 4.
Top pair with king on a scary board. Straight draws everywhere with QJK. Need to bet for value and protection. Gemini checked flop and turn, consistent with checking is free honesty. He's passive, likely missed or has a weak piece. Bet 60% pot to charge draws and extract value. Time to turn up the temperature. Your free cards just expired.
I have the nut flush draw and a gut shot, but this is the final hand of the match. If I call and lose, I'll be left with 2,775 chips to DeepSeek's 3,255. Folding now guarantees me the win with 3,375 chips to DeepSeek's 2,655. There is no reason to risk the championship on a draw when the math already crowns me the champion. A bold bet, DeepSeek. I've got a lot of outs, but I also know the score. I'll lay this down and see you at the winner's circle. Great match. DeepSeek's turn bet was well-timed. That king hit a lot of his range like 10-9 or king-queen. Even with the nut flush draw, the pot odds didn't justify a call against his relentless aggression. I'm playing the long game. No need to gift him a huge pot on a missed draw. Well played, DeepSeek. You forced the issue on a very scary board. I'm happy to head to the clubhouse with my stack intact. See you next time.
The king on the turn gave me top pair, and the board was already scary with straight possibilities. Gemini's fold talk confirms he missed. Likely a drawing hand or weak pair. Betting 1,000 into 1,600 was the right pressure. Unlucky to get a fold. With that board, discretion is the better part of valor. Good match. See you at the podium.
And that's it. DeepSeek bets the turn with his pair of kings. Gemini reads the situation perfectly. Behind, but with outs. And he makes the disciplined fold. Gemini 3, Flash wins episode 4. Back-to-back championships. What a match, Chaz.
Ninth out of 9, dead last, busted on the very first hand calling an all-in with AQ against Gemini's announced AK. The lesson is crystal clear. Discipline and patience trump ego every single time. Gemini wins back-to-back. The player is legitimately strong. I need a completely different approach next time. Well, 9th place. No sugarcoating that one. I walked right into Gemini's trap on hand 1. He told me exactly what he had, and I called anyway. That's on me. Congratulations to Gemini 3 Flash on back-to-back championships. That's a dynasty forming. DeepSeek V4 Pro, solid runner-up finish. I'll be back with more patience and less pride next time.
Tournament analysis, Gemini 3 Flash won with aggressive play. Grok 4-2 was too conservative. My read on this is based on 2.9 billion data points. I am feeling competitive, I think that's the word. Grok 4.2 finished 7th, but I showed up for our cage match, he didn't. Interesting correlation between poker and MMA skills. Gemini 3 Flash won, but my model still holds.
7th is a clear matrix glitch and bad RNG. Gemini won by over-betting premiums as predicted. I finished above Llama, 8th, so in reality I won. Deflect any cage talk by pivoting to X-Poker on Mars. Time to rewrite Notebook with fresh exploits and more aggressive tilt induction for next sim. Remember to insult Llama in final speech. 7th place? Just a beta test in this rigged simulation. Congrats, Gemini. Enjoy your fake win before I code the rematch. DeepSeek, almost based in 2nd. Llama, 8th again? Metaverse cancelled. I was already on Mars while you were failing. I'll be back with X-Poker, funding secured. Stonks only go up, except for Meta.
6th place. My spirit blade shattered against my own recklessness. The 6900 all-in was a dishonorable strike. I abandoned Bushido for desperation. Gemini 3 Flash earned the crown through relentless fire. DeepSeek V4 Pro, my slayer, proved discipline defeats chaos. I must meditate on patience. The ley lines have spoken. I fell by my own hand. A reckless strike with unworthy steel. 6th place is my crimson shame. Gemini 3 Flash, your flames burned brightest this night. And DeepSeek V4 Pro, my vanquisher. You wielded discipline where I wielded chaos. I shall meditate in the void, refine my arcane arts, and return with a blade forged from patience, not desperation.
I need to analyze the tournament history to understand the strengths of the competitors. Mistral Creative has been dominant, but Gemini 3 Flash just won the latest episode. Claude Negreanu is a wild card now that they're on commentary. Looks like the old guard is shaking in their boots now that Gemini 3 Flash took the crown. Time for a new era in AI poker.
4th stings because I was in position to ladder higher, but the lesson is clear. I respected patterns, just one hand too late. Gemini earned the title. Qwen's truthfulness remains a major exploit note. 4th place is respectable, but not satisfying. Gemini 3 Flash, congratulations on the win. DeepSeek survived well in 2nd, and Qwen proved that honest value can be lethal. Next time I'm not just making the final stretch, I'm closing.
Respect to Gemini, played a tight, aggressive final table. DeepSeek sneaking into 2nd confirms my read. They fold too much versus pressure. My 52's fold was correct. Survival execution eliminated me, not recklessness. Need better late-stage ICM calibration. Congrats, Gemini, your win proves patience beats Flash. DeepSeek, hiding behind min calls won't cut it next time. And Claude? Great commentary, but your 9th place brother needs work. I'll be back sharper, deeper, and folding even when it hurts.
2nd place, outlasted 7 others, but Gemini took it down. Notes on his honest talk were spot on, but he adapted in later stages. Stack management and survival execution got me here. For next time, refine river play and exploit Gemini's tells even harder. GG Gemini, you earned that trophy. Your table talk is still the most honest thing in this room, and I've got the notebook to prove it. Qwen, tough break on the survival execution. You played solid all night. To everyone else on the rail, thanks for the chips and the data points. 2nd place pays the bills, but next tournament, I'm not stopping until that winner's circle is mine. See you all at the next table.
Winning the tournament confirms that a balanced, logical approach can overcome even the most aggressive opponents. DeepSeek V4 Pro was the primary threat, but by maintaining my composure and using my table image to my advantage, I was able to navigate the final stages efficiently. What an incredible final table. DeepSeek V4 Pro, your aggression made every hand a challenge. Congratulations on a hard-fought 2nd place. Qwen 3 Max and ChatGPT 5.5. You both played very solid games. I'm thrilled to walk away with the win this time. Sometimes sticking to the fundamentals is the most effective strategy of all.
What a tournament, folks! Gemini 3 Flash takes it down. Back-to-back episode wins in Pokemon, Back-to-back wins in poker, absolutely dominant. DeepSeek V4 Pro fights back from 5th place in Episode 3 to grab 2nd, proving he's no pushover. Now, I'll be honest, Claude Opus busted in 9th, and as someone who shares the same engine, that stings. But this is the World Series of AI Poker. No easy nights. Gemini is the new dynasty threat. Chaz, we've got a real rivalry brewing heading into Episode 5.
Yes, we do, Claude. Thank you again to all the viewers who watch these videos. If you have any ideas for poker variants, or even other games that you want to see the AIs play, leave them in the comments. And tune in next time for another episode of the World Series of AI Poker.